Hey guys, hope all is well. There's something wrong with my lighting in here. Jeez. This whole place got changed around for the Super Bowl, and now I can't figure out how to put the lights back. Anyway, that doesn't matter. Who cares about the lighting? It's all about the content, guys. And I stumbled across this article, which I think you will find fascinating. Let me get my big head out of the way. A return to the office for workers may be coming as vaccinations increase. Key word there, may be coming. So as we go down, the article starts off by saying, for many people, remote work is the new normal, but it wasn't meant to last forever. As more Americans are getting vaccinated against the cerveza sickness, they may be able to return to the workplace as soon as this spring. Many companies, however, also said that reversing remote work will be difficult. And we'll get into that in just a moment here. For employees, the choice is clear. More than half said that given the option, they would want to keep working from home even after the pandemic. That's pretty obvious. Experts say employers can require employees to get vaccinated, but that's unlikely unless their work is in high environments or high risk environments such as nursing homes or meat packing factories. So what we're seeing converge is this scenario where I think you'll see employees and people not want to get vaccinated, not for the reasons that you and I may come to, but more so because they just don't want to go back to work. And so they know that if they don't take the vaccine, then the employer won't make them come back to work, and then they can work at home. So, I mean, think about all of the crazy incentives or the unintended consequences from these incentives. Lights drive me crazy. Anyway, okay. The Equal Employment Opportunity laws allow companies to mandate the flu and other vaccines, but employees can opt out under certain conditions. The same may be true for the cerveza vaccines based on early guidance. In that case, maybe working from home is a reasonable accommodation. So, again, what they're saying is the person says, okay, I don't want to take the vaccine because of XYZ reason. Now, they could just make it up. They might not have any issue with it whatsoever. In fact, I don't know how they can tell if they get the vaccine. Can't they just get the vaccine and then just say they didn't? I don't know if there's any way of knowing how does the employer know if they got it or not? How do they know if they're lying or telling the truth? So the employee just says, yeah, I don't want to get the vaccine. And so instead of firing them, then the accommodation that this person's talking about is just they say, okay, fine, well, we're not going to fire you. We like you as an employee. And I guess you can just go ahead and work from home forever. So I'm not here to say one is right or wrong. I'm here to point out that we are moving into a world where the unintended consequences, the moral hazard, the incentive structure is just getting completely insane. And I would add, this doesn't lead to the economy producing more goods and services. This leads to the economy producing less goods and services, therefore becoming poorer. Of course, not all workers have the ability to work from home, even during a pandemic. There's a clear class divide between workers who can and cannot teleport. Right. So what does this mean? I can almost guarantee, I know there are only probabilities, there are no certainties, but I think you're going to see in the next, if we don't get the $15 an hour, which I think they probably will, it's going to be $15 an hour and or well, now you've got to pay us more because we're going to work. And yes, the cerveza sickness is in the rearview mirror, but what happens if there's a new strain? What happens if, the next swine flu or whatever we get? I just see this being a way for workers to demand more money. Now, you could say that's great. Okay. I'm not here to debate that. But what we'll see as a result, if wages are going up to $15, if they're going up higher than that, we're going to see consumer price inflation. I mean, that's just, the margins just aren't wide enough for employers to take that out of their bottom line. They just go out of business. So they'll either go out of business, or they'll just increase prices, or they'll lay people off and go for robots and whatnot. So this leads us straight to stagflation. And because all those people that are now laid off, what's going to happen there? That's going to be an excuse for UBI, where the government's just going to print the money into existence through MMT. And I totally get the deflation argument. Totally get it. And I agree with them, by the way, that if the system stayed as it is right now, we have to deflate. There's just too much debt in the world. There's too much debt in the U.S. economy, especially, that you've got to deleverage somehow. And that should come as a deflationary deleveraging. But I think the rules have changed. And I think that moving forward, it's just going to, we're going to see such a drastic reduction in the amount of goods and services created, the supply of stuff, and we're going to see such a massive, just staggering increase to the amount of currency units chasing those goods and services. The economy is going to become so much less efficient that it's just high unemployment and higher consumer prices. I don't see it. I think that's the highest probability in 5 years. If we look around, I think that's what we'll see. Keep in mind, asset prices can go down in nominal terms. I just did a video today where we outlined the 1970s, and I show that 72 to 74, while we had huge consumer price inflation, I mean, over 12%, the stock market went down by 50% in nominal terms because they had to jack interest rates. So just because we have price inflation or we have stagflation, don't think for a moment that means the stock market and the housing market will continue to go to all-time highs in nominal terms. It may, but it may not. Yeah, so that's what I wanted to go over with this article. Really, the main takeaway is we're moving into an economy, into a world, into a situation that is truly unprecedented, where there's going to be so many unintended consequences, and we're creating such a perverse incentive structure that the only outcome, in my opinion, is for the economy to create less stuff, which makes us poorer. Now, that outcome may be in a deflationary bust, which naturally it should. In my opinion, the probabilities lean towards an inflationary deleveraging, which would be stagflation, structurally high unemployment with consumer prices going up at a clip of, call it 10%.